Get my blazer out.
Yeah, other days of the week we go into whole bits and segments and stuff, but Mondays we have a guest and today we have Rev Deuce. Is that how we refer to you?
Preferably,
All
yes.
right, excellent.
I guess you could call me something else, but they might not find my YouTube channel. So,
Yeah, I want them to find your YouTube channel. That's why I got it right over here. That's where you can find them. And you mostly cover this Star Trek Fleet Command that Scopley, who we all know here on the Mr.
and
Hargrave
love, I'm
show.
sure.
Oh, we love Scopley.
How can you not? I mean, they remember it's seize the play. It's all for the
Oh
gamers.
man, seize
It's
the
all for the
pay
gamers.
is what we say around here. Seize the pay.
I've heard
Oh
that
my god.
before. I wonder where. Hmm, hmm.
I think it's
I
right in
guess
the
we'll talk about
motto.
it.
I think it's a typo.
Type it. Yeah, it's whoops. What happened here? Oh,
We took all your money.
just wait. I can't wait because we've already had some pre-convos between me and you. I know we're waiting for people to come in, but like you were talking about, and we've talked like Marvel Strike Force pack prices and stuff.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that part of the conversation.
Oh, it's
Can't
good
wait.
times. It's good times. So should we give them a preview here? Let's see. I actually got the
Oh,
here's
oh,
my baby account. So there's my little baby. I started this up and checked it out. It's not horrible. I haven't had a bad time. I haven't felt the need to spend anything yet, so that's
oh yeah.
nice.
Early gameplay has definitely been optimized. It's much
Okay.
cleaner. And for every negative we say today, because I speak my mind. There's
Sure.
also a lot of positives too. So if you're a Trek fan, or even honestly a mobile gamer fan, so.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big Trek fan. My wife is a bigger fan. Like she must have over 200 of the novels and has read them all. She's
Ooh.
hardcore. So she's hardcore. Like if you tell her a minor character, she's gonna know who it is.
She needs to watch my last podcast episode then,
Excellent.
because we had Shauna Benson on. She is one of the writers for Star Trek Prodigy, one of the newer series on,
Nice.
and it was like a great stroll down Star Trek memory lane and some of the new
Nice.
stuff. So,
Awesome. Awesome. So yeah,
not to get to plugging my stuff too early, but just if your
I'll
wife's a
plug
big Star
away.
Trek fan, we had a
Absolutely.
writer. So,
Yeah, she's huge. So yeah, here's that preview I was talking about. This is good times right
oh
here.
well, heck, if you want to do the preview, Jen, just pull up my game and I'll hit my store button because that
I
was
could
just
do
one
that
picture
too.
I sent you.
Well, so there's more than this.
That's literally one
This is
frame.
this is
Come on.
tip this is tip of the iceberg right here.
Oh yeah, come on, put my screen up and I'll hit the pay store button. And for all
This
those
is
coming in, they'll be like,
crazy.
"Oh, cool, what's all this? Oh
This
my
is
god!"
crazy though. That's crazy that there's more than this. Hold on. That's not right.
So keep in mind that Apple and Google, they won't let prices go above a certain level, right? So
Okay.
it's 100 is going to be that cap. But in
Wow.
terms of the
But there's
number of
no
$100
limit.
packs,
There's no limit of how many hundreds they can offer.
so one was like you got a green screen filter on
Yeah, I
that
kept
one.
trying to
So
get rid of that and it kept not wanting to go away. I don't know why.
so for all those wondering, the invisible buttons,
Oh,
all
here, you
these
know what's
are
going to help if I
various
get rid of it.
$100, $50 packs, and I guess I could just keep scrolling to the end, but we're gonna be scrolling a while. A significant, yeah, you can still see the numbers good.
Yeah, yeah.
Lots and lots and lots, and
Oh my
essentially how the system
God.
gets set up. Now,
Sweet
dude, we're
God.
not even halfway through
What?
the scroll
What
yet.
is happening?
So I
Wait,
mean,
there's
there's
some sort
various
of error.
ships,
There's a
singular
problem.
researches. I mean,
What is
the way I could
happening?
describe it, I guess, would think about paying $100 for every red star in Marvel
What?
Strike Force.
What?
Yeah, that's
That
kind of what
is,
these $100 are
there's
essentially
no
doing in
cap.
various ways
There's
for different
no
things.
cap. You
So
can go all day. You can never stop spending.
yeah.
That's
So and
insane.
at the same time, there's good there, but it's everything has they like to word it, and I'm assuming a lot of y'all are seeing more of this in Marvel Strike Force. It's pay to progress quicker. Like it's still technically you can free to play all this, but the time
Oh
it
my
takes to do
God.
that.
Oh my
So
God. Where
yeah, I
are you
went ahead and
going
closed it
though?
to not super depress you. We went about 6% way through my
I'm
store, and as you can see, it's
amazed.
mostly $100
I'm
options.
amazed. Yeah, so that is we don't have that. We get they like to disguise the $100 offers in Marvel Strike Force. They like to hide them or make it so you can
Yeah.
buy $50 twice because people got really angry the first time a $100 offer came down to the point where like major news outlets got involved and they had to back
Wow.
down off of that. Maybe it's because it's a
Wow.
younger demographic playing Marvel Strike Force. It's seen as,
Yeah.
maybe more predatory on children. Whereas there's an older demographic that plays this, just typically veers
Yeah.
older because the audience that gets into Star Trek, not so much children.
Yeah, I mean that's something that's more of a failing on Viacom CBS. It really struggles with marketing their product because in the past, 5 years, there's a Nickelodeon based Star Trek show coming out that most people have no idea exists. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean the Star Trek demographic's definitely older, and that's kind of why. And if you go through all the various Scopley games, whether it be Marvel Strike Force when they bought Fox Next and then rebranded the studio, or Digit who made this game, or you go to like the WWE Champions game, they as much as you can fault Scopley for how annoying and sometimes they accuse predatory their pack prices are, they definitely do their research for each demographic in each game, and they
Wow.
know what they can get away with, so to speak.
And then they
So in
push it
this
all the
game,
way.
they can get away with this. People spend it freely.
Wow. Wow. How does and the community? So this causes no ripples in the community. These prices.
Yes and no. I mean,
Okay.
there's a constant annoyance, but has it gotten to the point where, and this is every mobile game, not just Scopely, like the whales, the people who spend the most, to where
Yeah.
they have just like abruptly they're fed up and they do like their own version of a spending ban until things change. That's yet to happen in the game.
Okay. That has. How long has this Star Trek Fleet Command been kicking around for?
So November will be 3 years.
Okay. So about the same time as Strike
Yeah.
Force, really.
The only difference is Scopely was over this when the game launched, whereas they acquire Marvel Strike Force, what, February 2020, something like that?
Okay. So this is a Scopely run show from start until now. Is that why we
Essentially,
see?
yeah.
So in a year or 2 years from now, is Strike Force going to look like this?
I would say no, probably not, because it goes back to that
Okay.
demographic thing. Because if you look at like the Walking Dead game that they have, they also have like a Scrabble game. It's really
Yeah.
weird the IPs they'll pick up in Strike Force. They try to keep it to a way that I think you said it well. They hide it. It's like
Yeah.
for us, they don't in terms of like I can tell you when an epic officer comes out. So a Magic Marvel Strike Force and a special rend. I don't even remember what all the characters are out right now, but let's just say Shang-Chi came in, which I'm sure is in the game now because of the
Yep.
movie and everything.
Absolutely. Just dropped in.
If to unlock any epic officer, so an epic simply being in Star Trek, like they're the highest rank, typically they're the best.
Uh
If
huh.
you want to go buy it from the store, is 4 purchases of $100.
What? What?
If you want to purchase it. Now, the good thing is they do give you a way to unlock it free in the game. So with us, we have the
Whoa.
next generation, which is probably the most well-known Star Trek.
Sure.
We just ended a theme. So we do battle passes, and I think y'all do the similar. And this one lasted
Yeah.
5 months, and now we're spending our event store currency that we can earn for free to get that card. However, if you wanted it the day he came out, $400.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, there are 100. I think typically we see unlocks at $50. And now
Yeah.
they've introduced a new thing. Whereas if you want it like super early, like basically like the content creator special, like only content creators pick this up, you can unlock a character like a couple weeks early for $100. Like
And see, that's
secretly
why I think
through a
Marvel Strike
backdoor.
Force won't go the route of Star Trek.
Uh huh.
So I know a lot of your viewers are probably really worried right now because the content creators are the poor people in Star Trek in terms of spending. And
Okay.
not to give out people's personal information, but we have
Sure.
people
Sure.
who spent well over $1 million in this game. Lots of people
It's
who are well
crazy.
6 digits in.
And
So this is
you're
a
not
game
making that
that
up
it
either.
caters to a demographic that
Those
is
are actual
people who have
numbers.
established money and they want that money.
Okay. And you're not making that up. That's not an inflation. You're not
No, I'm not
exaggerating.
exaggerating. There are
That's
people who,
for real.
which if you're familiar with mobile gaming, a lot of people, and I've noticed it with games like ours, a lot of people are new to this concept. But like you
Yeah.
look back to Clash of Clans, in their height, they were making about 4 million a day.
Yeah.
Granted, many more people, but it's all about who you believe that you can target in terms of how much money you can get. So like Star Trek just happens to have a much wider range of whales than most other games do. And like when I look at Marvel Strike Force, I've played the game and I enjoy it. There's definitely more younger people.
Yeah.
Like I'm 31. I met just as many people that were younger than me as I did that were older than me in that game.
Sure.
It's very rare for me to meet a ton of people like an 18-year-old playing Star Trek Fleet Command. And I want that because, I want Star Trek to last forever, but
Yeah.
they know that if their primary demo is the 45-year-old guy, he's probably got an established job and he's got an expenditure every month where he blows on some form of game or going out or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, what's reasonable? Like here, let me hate to black screen this, but let me I'm juggling a lot of things here, everybody.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They don't come to the Mr. Hartgrave screen for like good content. Okay, here we go. Here's the here's my little baby account that I just started up.
Yeah.
What's reasonable for me to if I want to have fun? First off, let's ask, is this game fun?
Is any MMO that requires a grind fun? Is Marvel Strike Force fun? Because if your answer is yes, then yes, Star Trek's fun.
I think
If
it
the
depends.
grind annoys the fire out of you,
Yeah.
then you're probably one of those guys who will get burned out. Like if you come into the game where your only goal is to like you want that one thing, it's probably not fun. If your goal
Okay.
is you like mobile style MMOs that it's about community, it's about the content itself, yes, it's fun. It's what your goal is. If you just see, oh, I want the Enterprise, oh God, you're going to hate it. Like if you just want to come in and you just want to get
Okay.
the Enterprise, then no, you're not going to have fun.
That's a good goal to talk about. What would it take for me to get the Enterprise? How long, free to play, to get the Enterprise? How long would it take?
So currently there are wrong button. There is one Enterprise in the game. There's another one coming.
Should I switch
So
over to
the
your
enter-
screen here?
yeah, you can.
All right.
So there's one Enterprise in the game at the moment, and that is a level 34 ship. And it is the Kelvin Enterprise, so the one from the Kelvin
Okay.
timeline. The Enterprise D we know is coming to the game, and since they just so for those who aren't familiar with it, Marvel has kind of had this problem. Imagine the problem that Marvel's had with Spider-Man being with Sony, where you
Sure.
can't always integrate it into games and movies.
Okay. Yeah. No, I know there's a whole big deal
Yeah,
with the different
that was the issue with
timelines and the
Star Trek for a
rights.
long time.
Okay.
And it wasn't
Crazy.
until last year that CBS and Viacom reunited everything. So
Yes.
now Paramount, CBS are all one again. So now the game just now got the ability to bring in all the series stuff. So it was originally just the movies.
Oh,
So
crazy. Okay. That makes sense.
so so now you're getting the Enterprise D coming into the game and everything. But like right now, if you wanted to free to play grind to level 34, depending on how much time you want to spend every day, is going to take you anywhere from I would say 6 to 8 months to get there.
Wow. Okay, so 6 to 8 months just to get the Enterprise. That's not that bad. I mean, there's characters in Marvel Strike Force that would straight up take you over a year easy.
But I want to point this out, and because I always try to approach Scopley games with an equal amount of vitriol. 'Cause I hate them sometimes, but also an equal amount of okay. Here's the good side.
Sure,
The
sure.
Enterprise is a level 34 ship. The max level in the game is 50 right now.
Okay.
So 6 to 8 months to get you to like the midway point ish. Obviously a little bit higher than the midway. It's 75% in right now.
All right.
That's a little bit long for some people, but
It's not horrible. It's not as
yeah.
bad as I could envision it
You're
being.
losing your viewers now. You're complimenting Scopely too much. It's over.
Well, we just
It was a
got
good
rated.
run. It was a good run, everybody.
We just got rated. So for everybody just coming in, we're talking to Rev Deuce here, and he is a content creator for Star Trek Fleet Command, another fine Scopely production. And we're contrasting and comparing the two. He's played some Marvel Strike Force. I've played some of this. I know one thing that is interesting about this game is the story didn't seem god awful. Is the story
Yeah.
not god awful? Is it actually based off of the universe, and is it readable?
Okay, yes, it is. Like as far as what games typically do, like when I played Marvel, and please, if you're out there as a Marvel fan, you've enjoyed Marvel Strike Force story. I personally have never enjoyed any of the storyline of Marvel Strike
Oh, it's
Force
awful. It's god awful.
ever.
Yeah, it's impossible to
So
enjoy.
there's definitely like the hardcore Trek fans of us will go, "This story sucks. How dare you have this happen?"
Sure.
But I will say it is better than most mobile games when it comes to creating story and actually having that. Like we have people who look forward to the new missions that come out every month. That's pretty rare. Most
Yeah.
MMOs don't have that. Now I'm not saying it's the major point of the player base, but it is a focus for them, and it's also a huge focus for like CBS. Like CBS, well, I won't say the point that they micromanage, but they got to make sure that they want their product to be represented well, and the stories in the game have to represent the product well.
Wow. Okay. So
So
there's more
there is a
involvement
a
there.
chain of command that anything that comes into Star Trek Fleet Command has to be a-okay with CBS. So I don't know
Okay.
if Marvel goes to that extent. Well, I
I
guess that
don't-
would be Disney. I don't know if
I
they go to
don't
that
think so.
level.
I think they do with character designs.
Yeah.
Like it does seem like there's a hand there, perhaps. But as far as the story goes, I mean, from the gibberish that's in that game, I cannot imagine there's any quality control from Marvel going on. But what I was noticing when I was playing this, I've been playing a couple of days leading up to having you on, just so I kind of have some context.
Yeah.
It seemed like the dialogue seemed to fit the characters. There was a story happening. It looks like I didn't really read it that intensely because I was just trying to see as much of the game as I could. But
Yeah.
it didn't look, and it looked like it was like an integral part of the experience instead of something that was like kind of tacked onto the side. Okay, these guys got to say
Yeah.
something. It seemed more like you could play this for that
Star Trek
aspect.
Fleet Command tries to be an immersive MMO, and we can argue how well, like compared to mobile games, I think they do a good job.
Yeah,
Compared to like a real MMO, like if you hopped on your computer
sure.
and you played like Star Trek Online, it's nowhere close. But it's riding that middle ground, which I think a lot of games are trying to do. So from that aspect, I do think they do it well. If you like story, you will experience Star Trek characters, both the movies and now the next generation. They're continually adding in more. And I saw one of your commenters like surprised that we get new missions every month. Yeah, every month that an arc comes out, so every battle pass, we generally get between 10 and 20 new missions.
Oh, wow.
So we're like, I think 1,800 total missions in the game now. So like if you come for missions, granted you have to level progress through a lot of those. Like this month there were some missions that came out that are only level 42 plus. So I can't even do them. But yeah, I mean they do typically throw out a new set and a new storyline, whether it's good or bad, every single month.
I'm looking to find level 3 ships. Where can I go to beat some level 3 ships?
So the
How the hell
easiest
do I
way
play
is you
this
go
game,
by the
sir?
level of the system. So like right now you're in a
Okay.
level 1 system. See how it
Okay,
says new
gotcha.
Sligo 1?
Okay,
So if
cool.
you
If I
go
go up to
to a
this
2, 3,
4.
or 4, you're going to find threes in there.
Okay, sounds good. Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Try to
Bogo
actually
says that's
play some
wild.
of
So
this
do
game.
y'all not get regular story
God, no.
in Marvel? Because to me,
No.
that's like the pinnacle of what Marvel is. It's yes, it's the characters, but it's the story of each character.
Right?
So
They don't care at all. It's just new characters, no story. We get these little event campaigns which are disposable. They go away. You never do them again. You can't experience them
mhm.
again. They last for 2 weeks. You finish it in under an hour and it's gone. And all the story was gibberish anyways. And that's as much as you get. We haven't had like a full new campaign for about a
Wow,
year. No new stages, no real new
wow.
content at all. It's basically the same gameplay loop over and over again ad nauseum.
I'd be really curious if that's something that Scopely is trying to work on because one of their goals, the reason that they have these pack prices be what they are,
Hmm.
is they want to they're going to hate that I use this terminology. They want to bleed as long as possible.
Okay.
And I think in 2019, one of their vice presidents, and I'm going to say this because they did it publicly, basically said, and I'm paraphrasing, the goal is to create wells and drain them, which is common
Wow.
sense. If you can get the richest people
What?
to spend on your game and you get as much money as possible, logic. But doing that requires you have more than just a straight release of like, hey, go buy this character, and then you're bored for 30 days
Yeah,
afterwards.
that's what we have right now, and I feel like the game is dying. I honestly don't feel like anyone's really spending any more on Marvel Strike Force. Certainly not the kind of money that people are spending on Star Trek. And I'm
Yeah.
guessing some of the reason is that there's actually something here to do.
hmm
There's a story to
So like
experience.
starting
There's
off,
content.
and one thing that how does Marvel Strike Force handle new players now? Because when I first started, which was close to when the game launched, it was tough to progress. And then when I jumped
Yeah.
back in on my old account, I still felt really hard to progress anywhere, even though the game had been out a while. How does it handle new players for y'all? Because what they do in Star Trek Fleet Command is essentially every 6 to 12 months, you get an economy scaling, is what I would refer to it
Oh
as.
wow.
It's like right now, if you were to play every day, you can reasonably reach level 20 within a month,
Okay.
probably. When I first started the game, though, when it launched, it took me 3 months to do that.
Okay,
So
that's a good example.
as new stuff comes out, they reasonably speed up the earlier portions of the game while still adding content to it. Like we had two major mechanic updates to the game. One's called away missions, one's called exocomps. That those mechanics start at like level 8 and like level 14. So they've added major portions to the game that start early and move up while
Nice.
also speeding it up because they're trying to push you. They want you to get to the end game stuff. They want you to get the new stuff because that's what's charging the most money for. So how does that work for Marvel? Because I really haven't checked in a while.
They have just recently made it better. Nothing up until I forget what the break point was. I think it was level 30. At level
Mm-hmm.
30, you can do ISO campaigns, and that basically
Okay.
doubles the amount of experience that you can earn from that point. So they have made it, and that's really the first update they've had to it ever. They really
Okay.
haven't changed that experience as far as just progressing through the levels. And as you know, they gate a lot of content behind the levels. So like you can't do stuff until you're a certain level. And there's already not a lot to do to begin with. So
Okay. Well,
that's
that's
a
the opposite problem with Star Trek is there's too much. I don't even want to say too much because there's a
I
plethora
feel
of
you.
options to do and a lot of one of Star Trek's problems is it doesn't tell you how to do any of it.
I'm kind of lost right now. I'm just trying to find a level 3 ship still.
Yeah, well, you went back to a level 1 system. You went back to your home system, so you're
I'm
all the
totally
hostiles there
lost.
will be
I'm totally lost.
nobody's.
Let me try this again. All right, this is a level 4
Yeah,
system, right?
yeah.
Okay, try that.
So
But yeah, I do
I'd kind of help you
feel
if we were on the same server. Odds are you're
I
not on
do
server 20.
feel I'm in the
So
deep end here. Like there's a lot going on.
yeah.
Maybe that's to make me feel like maybe I should spend to speed things up. I don't know, but really I'm like, oh, there's enough here. I don't need to spend any money. I'm good.
Honestly, I don't feel like there's much pressure to spend for about 25 levels of the game, honestly. Like you
Okay.
can. Like the best purchases you can make if you are a spender is at level 18, you get a ship that you can buy called the North Star. It's $20.
Okay.
It'll carry you through the game for quite a while, like to about that level 25, 26 range. So any ship that can go that many levels is pretty rare in Star Trek. That because
Okay.
there's basically a new ship every 2 levels, which is pretty nice, I guess. You get options to go after new ships and stuff like that. But there's not like right now. When we get to a point where the whales will like to complain because if they spend $100 will not buy them one upgrade of anything on their ship.
Wow.
So they have to spend thousands. Now, the,
Whoa.
the the thought process there is new content equals premium. So if you're level 50, like you're at the max the game can go right now, you're playing premium area stuff, and we're going to charge you a premium to do it. That's kind of the thought process. But 20, 25, 30, that's not a premium area any longer. That was when the game started. So now you can pretty much free to play your way into just happiness for a long time. And it's
Okay.
only really the big spenders that are kind of getting squeezed. Now everybody gets a
Got
little bit
you.
of a squeeze. It is annoying, and I can point out different bottlenecks, but that's probably the main focus is the big money is spent up top.
Got you. Got you. I mean, I kind of do feel that with Marvel Strike Force, like I feel like veteran players, I feel it's the same kind of
Hmm.
thought. Like veteran players, it's just like shut up and pay me. We don't
Yeah.
care. Like whatever, you don't get anything, shut up and pay us.
Well, do they
You
do any gosh, I feel like this is turning into me appreciating Scopley more and it's getting really annoying. Do they at least listen to the veteran players and make adjustments that are needed?
no. No,
Oh,
no,
Jesus.
no.
Because they just did that for our guys. Like
Okay.
our whales who spend, 5, 6 digits. The last 3 ships that are currently in the game before the new ones come out
Hmm.
were imbalanced. You had one that was like God tier. It was S
Okay.
tier from your favorite anime, and then the others were just kind of like B tier. Like they were good, but when they went up against this other one, like no chance at all in hell. And then they
Got
just
you.
did a complete rebalancing of that entire system to make them happy.
Okay. I mean, we did have something similar not too long ago where a team came out that did nothing. And
Hmm.
then they did. And you know what I feel like it is a lot with it, though, is I feel like, you know, the concept of the monkey paw and you get like
Hmm.
3 wishes, but they're all like, you get your wish, but it's something awful happens as well. I feel that happens with them.
Okay,
Like we'll
that's
ask for
fair.
something, we'll get it. They'll say, "Hey, look, now you got it," and it's like, well, now it. And usually it's because it happens too late. Like this
Hmm.
team that came out, Skill Military, it wasn't as advertised. They reworked it. They reworked it too late. If you invested in it, then they came out with another team that did all the same stuff but better. And so everything
Uh,
you would have invested right at the point where they fixed it would have been wasted the next month.
So how we typically, I'll say we because I'm not working on it. How they typically do it over here is, now granted, Marvel Strike Force is based on a character system and a team fighting system, so it's very different.
Yeah.
But here, the money draws are generally more mechanic stuff. Like for right now, the best bang for your buck in your account is $25 to get. You see that little lock symbol between your second builder and your second research?
Yeah,
That's
yeah, I saw
25
that.
bucks to get those. It's
Okay.
$20 for the research, $5 for the extra builder. but those last throughout the entirety of the game. That's really the only like
Okay.
you should spend money that you get early on, and then you can see your nice cheap packs. I miss those days. I miss those days. But also, some of those packs are completely pointless. Like that $10 one you're staring at, that ship damage,
Sure.
literally a waste of $10 because you can get
Got
that
it.
latinum in like the first week of the game, or that
Yeah.
dilithium.
I,
So
I usually try to avoid all those traps. Like you kind of, if you play a few
mm,
mobile games, you kind of know like this is
yeah,
probably nothing. Like a lot of the stuff you're gonna pick up,
yeah,
and
and how it works is, and once again, I don't know how it is starting in Marvel, but it's a scaling system. So if you never spend a dime, you'll basically always see those packs no matter what.
yeah,
Once you start spending, you start seeing the $20, $50. Once you spend a significant amount, you start seeing basically only $100 packs, which is mine. I mean,
wow,
and I have no problem telling people what I've spent. In about 3 years of the game, I've spent around $1,000 on Star Trek Fleet Command.
that's
You
a
know, and I think a
reasonable
lot of
amount, man.
content creators who do this for a living will spend that, if not way more. You know, and that is normal. But because of that,
Yeah,
I basically only see the higher end packs. You
wow.
know, where at your level, you're seeing these $10, $5 options, which seem so much more palatable to a mobile
This
gamer.
goes away though. This is temporary.
Yeah. Now they did add, due to frustration, a $20 a month option that's probably the best overall value in the game, and that's the battle
Okay,
pass. So you have a
okay,
regular battle pass path, and you're not going to see it, so I could show it on mine if you want to. So you have a regular
yeah.
battle pass
Let
path,
me
and then
see your
like
battle
every other
pass.
game in the world right now, there's a premium battle pass path that you can get at the bottom section for $20, which will essentially give you about double what would get from the free path, which is fine. I mean, it's $20, and compared to everything else in the game, that's an extreme value. You know, at the end of the year, that's still you spending hundreds of dollars on Star
Yeah.
Trek Fleet Command. But it's, in terms of what you're getting in the bottom rung of that premium versus what you're getting everywhere else, value wise in this game, it's there. So they did add that, and they have tried to focus a little bit on that while still giving those big whales who spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars something to go below $400 a day on. Is there a lot of RNG? Oh God.
Yeah, I
What a
was seeing some
question.
of that. It's
All
it's
right.
loaded
So,
up.
as
Yeah.
positive as you might take some of the things I'm saying, it is an extremely RNG heavy game. It's annoyingly RNG heavy. For example, I don't have any refinery pools I can show you, but like one of the key points in the game for a lot of people is, and I think when I'm trying to think of a Marvel Strike Force equivalent, I guess the equipment, getting to the higher equipment levels, the grind that is.
Yeah.
So, one of our grinds to upgrade our ships is we need parts and
Yeah, the ships
materials and stuff.
upgrade the same way like characters do, basically. They have like
Yeah,
four
exactly.
slots, they have gear. You gear up the ships just like you gear up your characters.
It's like that enterprise I was telling you about. If you get to the enterprise without any researches that reduce costs, because we do have those researches in the game, it costs 50,000 uncommon gas to max it out. So go take it to tier 9. I've got a tier 9 one, and it's strong, it's cool, but to get there, 50,000 uncommon gas. An average pull, I'll get about 30 to 50 uncommon gas a day from our refinery. Now that's just the refinery. You also get it from events and stuff like that. And it's this whole thing where you're supposed to play this game 6 hours a day and get it from every possible source.
So how,
But
yeah, is
that's a
that's another good
bottleneck.
thing to touch on. So I did notice this game wants to be on all the time. Like it has
Yes.
these rewards that it gives you every 10 minutes that it's on, you get candy.
Yep.
So
Yeah. Now that
it
the 10
really
minute
wants
candy
that
is
time.
awful, by the way. Don't waste your time.
Okay.
But it is a game that, and that's probably our number one complaint as players, is that the time sink in this game, if you're competitive, the time sink really requires you 4 to 8 hours a day. If you want to
Wow.
be competitive and not be spending like stupid money to just be maxed. It's like, I know in Marvel, I don't know if y'all still do the alliance battles. I remember there was alliance
Oh yeah, yeah.
battles and there was like PvP play. There's not really as much of that here, but there's still that same competitiveness. If you want to be on that high level competitive, you're either spending or doing a crap ton of time in this game.
Wow. Okay. So it sounds like the time sink is definitely greater in this game. I wonder if that's something that they actually just removed some
Hmm.
daily time that we would need to spend in Marvel Strike Force of all things. We had both Blitz and Real Time Arena, and now you can do
Hmm.
either or, which was
Okay.
pretty amazing.
Since you have me on the screen, I'll show you a couple of my. I'm currently clicking things because one issue is we have too many things that you forget to do everything every day. So yeah, the first thing we have is we have a set of daily events. This is just these rotate on a 4 and 12 hour schedule. So these are various events that happen every day, all day on an 11-day pattern. So we
Jesus.
have those tracked. But that's one set. Then we got Monday. We call Mining Monday. There's 3 particular
Okay.
events for Mining Monday. Then we also have ticket systems. This is a whole nother like semi paywall. Like they give you 10, but you need 20 to do both events. So you can pick one or you can spend money to do the other one. That's another set of things to do today. Then you have Mega Miner, which is, since we're doing that whole battle pass I was telling you about, this is what gives us that event currency that we need to spend in the stores. That's a third set of events going on today. Then you have a month-long event. Then you have a monthly alliance event. Then you have a weekly alliance event. Then you have just the points you need to score in the battle pass. All of these different things I pointed out can take anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours to complete.
My God.
So there's definitely a huge time sink potential in here. And there are ways to skirt around it to make it easier. But just you're talking about the average player, the person who just wants to log into a mobile game for 30 minutes will not complete everything they need. And by the way, that's just events. That doesn't count this fancy little button over here called your dailies, which is, your dailies.
So when Scopley tells us that and Scopley has told us, they acknowledge that spending more than 2 hours a day playing your mobile video game is detrimental to your health. When it comes to this game, I guess they don't care. Or
well,
what's the deal?
See, we've gotten the promises, and I think the thing to remember about Scopley is, and I every time somebody asks me, this is how I explain Scopley. Scopley is not a gaming company. Scopley is a marketing company who buys game developers. Like Digit is the game developer who created Star Trek Fleet Command. Fox Next is who created Marvel Strike Force. Yeah. Scopley comes in with their, admittedly, it is genius marketing system that they use to get as much money as possible, which is why that their last evaluation, I think, was something like $3 billion. And I realize an evaluation is not equal to actual worth in terms of getting purchased today.
Sure.
But they basically doubled their evaluation every year. So they're growing hand over fist because they know how to come into games and increase the revenue stream while also keeping players active. It's annoying, but they're very good at it. So the tricky part is then each individual developer, how well do they manage that? Because obviously Scopely pushes the development. Remember, Scopely doesn't come in with their own dev teams like, yo, do this. They come in and say, we're going to manage your teams, and we'll insert things like our community managers and maybe some of our event staff. But generally, the people who are creating the game are still the same people creating the game now. Then they have to balance, okay, so how do we create the content we need to continue our game while also appeasing what they demand from us in terms of we got to make this amount of money every month, we got to do these type of events, to all this. It's a balance that they have to find. So that's probably more on, what is Fox Next called now? I don't even remember.
Boundless, a Scopley studio.
Yeah, great. Boundless. Digit did the same thing. Like if you ever check out like Digit's like Instagram, when like Scopley and them really had their thing, like Digit went from posting like every day to like now 3 times a year. So,
crazy.
Hey, we're a new company while they're being the same. So anyway, that's more of like on Boundless, and how well because at the end of the day, if Scopley's getting their check that they expect to get, I don't really care as much how it's coming as long as it's coming.
Got you. So Boundless will have a target revenue to hit.
Every company does. I mean,
sure.
So it's not like, crazy info.
It helps to understand
any
why
gaming
these
company.
things.
Because remember, like to pay for that Marvel IP, they've got to pay that. And then like Apple and Google take 30% of every transaction in the App Store. So and then you got overhead where Scopely has got operations in the UK, Spain, US, Japan. So you've got overhead all across the world. So at the end of the day, how much money are they actually making? It looks like millions, but are they making profit? And that's the key. There's a profit margin that I have no idea what it is that each of these games has to make. Because if they stop making it, then you move into that dangerous phase where, okay, we're not really going to focus on new content. We're just going to focus on staying steady because that's cheaper. If you ever feel like you stop getting characters and I mean, that might be your stagnation point. I don't know. Star Trek Fleet Command hasn't reached that point. It's constantly new. They're constantly working out new deals with CBS. New things are coming to the game and more people are joining. I mean, we do a server system. So they don't put everybody on one game. We've got over 100 different servers across the US, EU, Asian Pacific, etc. So it's all split all over the place. We've had a dozen new servers launched just in the past 3 or 4 months, which equates to tens of thousands of new players.
What's it mean when they start making up their own characters to throw into the game? Is that a bad sign?
It's like Kestrel. Is that supposed to be like some form of Ant-Man alternative or something?
It's just they just made a character up and threw her in. And they tried to pitch it as a good thing. But is this them trying to cut some costs? Maybe not having to pay some licensing fees, maybe?
That's probably potentially more Marvel saying, "Hey, you can't use this upcoming character," but they still had to fill in that spot.
It
That's what
might
I
have
would bet
been.
that is,
Might have
because we've
been.
had that before, where like
Interesting.
you want something in Star Trek, but either CBS or maybe the actor themselves is like, no, no. For example, if you've watched any of the new Star Trek movies, the guy who plays Chekhov in the new movies, well, he
Uh-huh.
died.
Yes.
Sad. It's a very sad story and everything. His family will not allow his likeness to be used in anything.
Got you. So they got to work around that.
So yeah, so there's a workaround. So there is a Chekhov in the game, but he's TOS Chekhov, so he's from the original series. The
Okay.
movie version, when the first came out, is a guy called Arkady. He's like a very generic Russian.
Okay.
So sometimes that happens where like they want to use something and then like the lawyer team comes in and says no, but then they still got to put something out. So maybe that
Interesting.
was that, or maybe they're just lazy. I don't know. I don't
Who
know y'all's
knows? Who
people.
knows? Yeah, they made this one up too. So we're seeing more
I mean,
creative
she's kind of
character.
hot. So I
And
mean,
this is a nice.
waifu.
This is
What's
a
up?
nice design. No,
Deathpool.
I like Deathpool more than I like Kestrel, and I thought that was a positive. But yeah, it could explain. Maybe they wanted to get one of the other Deadpools. Maybe they wanted to get Death. Maybe they couldn't arrange for
Well, yeah,
that.
like if you mentioned death, I mean that's something that we haven't seen in the MCU yet, but
Yeah,
yet we're getting into the Celestials are coming in with Phase 4 and everything. It's very, very possible. And I'm not trying to like take up for everybody here, but I'm just trying to provide
sure, sure.
context because I've had the opportunity working with Scopley for 3 years, but also working with like writers for Star Trek and stuff. You find out that these big companies like Disney, CBS are can be very strict with their rules and like one minute tell you that you can use something then pull the rug out from under you the next because
Yeah.
maybe their design for where that's going changes and they're like, well, we don't want people to know about any of this yet.
Yeah, I know they had a big problem year before this game was released, where Marvel said no mutants anywhere, like just
Mm-hmm.
no X Men, and everyone was like, "What? X Men sell, man." They're like, "No, we don't own them, so stop it." And so
Yeah,
all the
exactly.
video games, there were no X Men in them, and it was a big issue. They've now acquired it, so now it's fine. You can have X Men now, but I know that was tricky. Talking about strike or battle passes. So one
Yeah.
thing I think that directly happened because of the Scopely acquisition was we started getting battle passes. At first, we got one battle pass, a real time arena battle pass, which no one's
Okay.
buying now. This has like no value. It's $20
So
a
y'all have
month.
multiple battle passes?
We have multiple. We got two, and
That
they're
doesn't make
both.
sense.
It doesn't, and it's not.
Sorry. No
Yeah,
offense. It just doesn't make sense.
it doesn't.
Okay.
Because yeah, I mean, which one are you supposed to buy? Are you supposed to really give it $40 a month? So they're telling your game, Star
Mm-hmm.
Trek, that okay, veteran players, we know there's no offers for you anymore. If you don't want to drop just $100, here's a $20 offer that actually gets you a better experience every month, right?
No,
The
no. Actually, they're telling so like the people in the chat who are like, screw Scopely that sees the pay.
Yeah,
They actually made that for us. What they
okay,
did for the whales is the whales said, "Hey, these packs aren't good enough. We want a better $100 pack to buy," and then they made them a better $100 pack.
okay. So they made
Imagine your
them
whales being like, "We want to give you more money, but make it a little bit better," and they're like, "Oh, cool. Here you go."
interesting. I think our wheels have said that, and they've said no.
That's really weird because
It is
Scopely is
weird.
like jump for joy. Like, you want to still spend $100? Okay.
Yeah,
They
you would
actually
think.
about 2 months ago, they took all the packs we had in the game, and this is that economic growth I was telling you about, and they basically increased a lot of the packs in the game by about 30%. So
Oh,
everything that was
crazy.
in them, big boost. So you spend the same amount, but now the economy just got a big injection because they're preparing for new stuff. As I said, we have a
Okay.
major expansion like coming out, and while I don't have full specifics, and I couldn't tell you if I knew anyway, there's a huge thing looming on the horizon we all know is there, but nobody knows exactly what it is.
Interesting.
Because of that, they're making everything better in the game. Like, yo, we're adding this mechanic that lets you get these officers you haven't had for a year, and we're
Okay.
adding, your packs have better values and stuff.
Interesting. Interesting. We have yet to get that. We want that, but we just have these. What they're doing to us, what I
Mm-hmm.
find is the biggest problem, is they've taken these unique pieces for every single character. There
Okay.
is like a unique item. Let me see who's best to talk. I think Black Bolt's a good one to display it. Right here, you need like something like this, and each character has like a different one, and
Okay.
you can only get them randomly. So you can't target these specifically.
Okay.
It's only random chance, and they're pretty rare, and you need like 60 of them for each character. So it gets
Mm-hmm.
crazy. And what they're doing is that you can buy them for $15 for 10, and you can do them like 3 at a time every couple of days or whatever. And I think
Okay.
they're just content to milk the whales very slowly with this method instead of loosen up on this.
And see, I'm actually not surprised by that part. I'm more surprised by the lack of focus on progression early on and the continual renewal of new players and stuff, because that's a super heavy focus with Star Trek, to the point we actually call it a flaw, where they care too much about getting the
Interesting.
new people in and the new whales that they start forgetting about some of us old timers sometimes.
I
Seems like
see.
you have the opposite problem. It's like, screw the new people.
Yeah.
Just charge them $45 for a singular officer upgrade. Which, by the way, I saw one of your commenters saying, like, I talked about our progression getting easier. Do the officers still matter a year later? So that gets into the great discussion of power creep. Whether you played a trading card game or a mobile game, power creeps are a very
Yes.
real
I'm
thing.
going to go to
Where,
your account
like,
to show that off. So
yeah, so
you can show
like
us some
power
power
creep,
creep.
where you've got officers that were there in the beginning that maybe aren't any good now. So it's a yes and no. Some of the stuff that you get now that came out a year and a half ago is actually really good. The best set in the game, like the entire set as a whole, is probably still the Borg set. And they've actually continued to add to it. There's still 2 that I don't have. That's still the best set in the game, and
Okay.
that's a year and a half old. Still probably one of the hardest to get, but it is the best, and they're making it a little bit easier to get. But there's also stuff that came out, fairly recently. Where's a
I
like?
watched your video about the frustration you had with the Borg. That was fascinating.
Mhm.
It sounded a
Yeah,
lot like the problems that we have with like the little uniques. Like they all take this rare
yes.
resource,
So
and you
it's a
can't.
double-edged sword, because they're the best set in the game, and there's a couple of those Borg officers that are good straight out the box. Like a free-to-play player dreams of getting them, because even at level 1, they changed the gameplay. But if
Crazy.
you actually want to max them out, even for whales, it's a nigh possibility right now.
Yep.
But then you also have sets like this in the background, the Harry Mudd set, which is the rogue set, basically useless. There's really no point in having these except for, and their response to this was to give us a reason to use these.
Oh yeah,
And
we've
what
had that.
and what they did, and they created this mechanic called away teams, where
Okay.
now you can take those officers you don't use and actually send them on missions to give you stuff.
Send them away.
So yeah.
You can toss them
So
over
it's
here.
annoying that we have all these useless officers that are now pointless, but it's good that they at least gave me somewhere to send them, I guess.
You can actually just send them away.
Yep. Yeah, like I can go
Hey,
on a mission right now for 2 days
not bad.
and
For
send some of
2
these officers
days,
I'm not using to potentially get more rep and more
these guys
in-game
are so
currency for different
useless.
items.
May as well go away for 2 days.
Yeah. Like
Something, I
I'm
suppose.
tired of looking at you. Bye.
At least, at
You
least
know.
they're not making you use them on content. They did that with Pimtech for us, but they make us use them on content. They make us take a
Okay.
crappy team, build them up to the highest level, and then use them on the hardest raid.
Yeah, they don't
Just
do
sweet.
that. I mean, I won't tell you that there aren't ships that are like super, like the highest free to play player in this game. I've told you the game's been out about 3 years. The highest free to play player is right at level 45. As you can see behind me, the highest level ship is level 50 ship. So there's definitely still a gap between like how high and like the pay to win aspect. There's no way to get a Tribune right now without being a spender. And
Oh
generally,
wow, okay.
you've spent 5 digits to get to that level. At the same time, you can progress and get everything at like rating and stuff like PvP. Yeah, you don't need to be a level 50 to do that. In fact, some of the level 50s are so bad at it, you can beat them and be 7 levels below them. So they don't really bottleneck that. It is still annoying because like that level 50 Tribune can come by and you could be like a level 33 and have no chance of ever stopping him. And he just one shots your base and you're, but I guess there's problems with
Interesting.
every pay to win
Well,
scenario.
that's interesting. That so level 50 is like unobtainable by a free to play player right now.
Yes.
Wow,
Yeah. I
that's
mean,
crazy.
it's
We
it's
don't have
obtainable
that.
in time, but nobody's obtained it yet. Now,
Is
when
it
five
brand
star
new?
comes out, that's the next level.
Okay.
I expect people have gotten there, but that they're going to raise the level cap. So there's probably going to be level 60 is the max, and that'll be the new thing. So basically, with Star Trek, is you will never have a free to play player until we reach that stagnation stage that is max level.
I believe that Marvel Strike Force has totally stagnated. Maybe that's the problem that they've had is they've allowed they haven't insulated the whales at all. You can, as a new player, I mean, you got to spend to do it. We actually have a content creator who started 1 year ago, spent his way into the #1 alliance. And there he is.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can also do it fairly, I wouldn't. Can you do it free to play? I think free to play. I think someone who's been playing for 2 years can
Yeah, I mean,
has
yeah.
caught the
How far
whales.
can you get? Like, I remember one thing was your best characters. Let's just say that Wolverine one they start you off with. How long does it take you to max out Wolverine with red stars?
That's an interesting topic because they're actually finally making Wolverine better. Until now,
Okay, well,
he
my bad. I
wasn't any
remember
good.
Spider Man was also awful. I had Spider Man. I was
Spider-Man's
so excited
awful.
to get him when I started Marvel Strike Force, and
Awful.
then everybody's like, "Dude, he's like the worst card in the game." I'm
He's
like,
the worst. He still sucks. Wolverine's about
okay,
to be good.
great.
But yeah,
Yeah,
to get Wolverine to power him up, I mean, I think because you get him kind of for free. He's like your daily login.
yeah, that's what I. He was like the main. I had. If I logged in now, I could tell you better. But I think my main was him, Hulk, Thor. You know, some of the starter sets you get,
Yeah.
and I'd gotten Wolverine up, and then Scarlet Witch were like 5 stars, I think.
I
But
mean,
I had off and on played for over a year to get to that point
yeah, I mean, you could literally like never max out a character though, depending on.
because of what Billing is saying. Because he says red stars are random, and that
Yeah,
sounds
red
awful.
stars are entirely. I mean, there is a currency to get them. However, it's pretty rare. I mean, I have bought some characters to 7 red stars for sure, with free to play, not buying offers to get it. So it's totally possible. If
Hmm.
you're hyper focused on one character, you could max them out. If you're a new player, I mean, it's basically getting up to the level. You got to get
Okay.
to
So
level
what's your
80,
max
level
level now?
85. They just raised the level cap,
85.
and to get to level 85, I think one of my other guys I hang out with, Boylon, is better with math than I am, but I think he has it. I bet you can get there within a year. I think in a
Hmm.
year you can get to level 85, and I don't think they'll even raise the level cap in that year. I think you actually do have a
Okay.
year. If you started today and played for a year, I believe you would catch level 85 before they
So
raise the level
then
cap
I
to
would
level
say your
90.
level system is better than what we have because
Yeah,
there's no
slower.
way. I mean, I've been playing almost 3 years with $1,000 sunk, and obviously I run multiple accounts like every other content creator. I'm a try hard and I do too much,
Sure.
so I could probably be higher. But I mean, I'm a level 39, and that's 11 levels below max. So now level
Crazy.
50 only came out December 2019. So it's not like it's been out 3 years. The original max was where I'm at was 39, and then level 50 came out over a year into the game. But still, that's a year and a half. I've not reached that level. It took me 2 years to reach the previous max level.
That's a long. It sounds more like levels like in Pokemon Go. I played Pokemon Go,
Yeah,
and to reach like level 40, it just straight takes you. Like it can take forever. You can never obtain it. It's a lot of experience points you have to grind out or whatever. And it didn't
yeah.
seem like when I was playing Star Trek here, it didn't seem like it was. I think like you were saying, it wasn't holding my hand. It wasn't telling me
Mhm.
how to get this experience, how to raise up levels. It didn't seem to care if I made it up to the next level or not. It was happening. But in Marvel Strike Force, it's kind of like you do this, this, and this every day. You get this amount of experience points. You progress. It kind of keeps holding your hand.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a younger demographic. I don't know.
Once you get to like the 20s, you're in the mode and you know exactly what you need to do generally. Like we do have a dailies list. Hey, go do all these basic things, fill out your dailies, get the rewards, which the daily rewards need a massive uptake because they're awful. But
Ouch.
like where you're at, I feel like the worst part of the game is the early tutorial system. The early missions are fine because at least there's some storytelling there, and I like story. But in terms of like telling somebody at level 1, level 5 how to actually play the game, there's not a lot there. Like it's just, it'll say go kill a level 3 hostile, but
Yeah,
won't explain that level 3 hostile is in a level 3 system instead of where you're at. So you're just kind of looking
sure.
around for 10
Aimlessly.
minutes going, what the hell?
I don't know what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
it's
Interesting, interesting. Well, Rev, I don't want to take up too much of your time, and we usually don't go very long on Mondays, but it has been fantastic having you here. I really enjoy getting this extra perspective on the game and to know how different things could be. I
yeah.
feel better in some ways and worse in some other ways. I want like more content, but I don't want nothing but $100 packs to look at every day.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm in the same boat. Like there's some things talking to y'all and reading through your chat.
yeah,
that I wish things were some, but then another, like I wish things were more like Marvel Strike Force, but at the same time, like the lack of your story progression, the lack of really a good content infusion, the fact that you haven't brought up a single like mechanic addition that made me go, hey, that helps everybody. That's really like makes me want to be like, you know what? I'll take my wells and my $100 pack. So it's a tricky thing, and I think they can always get better. In a lot of ways, I hope that because Scopely hasn't really been with y'all too long, I hope they do kind of take the method they have with us and really push that. All right, how do we get new stuff into the game? Because now's the perfect time. If they use their model, Phase 4 is really easy to inject new people into Marvel. Really easy. Because people are getting excited. I can't wait for the Eternals to come out because that's brand new. Nobody knows, even if you're a hardcore nerd, most don't know what the hell that even is going to look like. I'm excited. Well, push people into the game then. So it'd be great if y'all kind of picked up some of the good habits. Maybe not necessarily the just to go get one of the mini Eternals that you will come up with a new movie for $400. Maybe that's not something that we want y'all to have. At the same time, I think that's good. It sadly gave me a perspective of like, wow, I'm kind of a little bit more appreciative of how Scopely and Digit run Star Trek Fleet Command.
Yeah, it could be worse. It could be better. I mean, hopefully, you'd hope that they take the best parts of these things and put them together and then actually run something that is profitable and enjoyable. One more thing, actually, before we go, the video that was on here was regarding events. My biggest problem right now is we have this Shang-Chi event. It's not fun. All you do for events is you blitz. I don't know if you've blitzed, if you remember that mechanic. But it sucks. It's the same repetitive gameplay loop every day, multiple times.
The only thing I liked about that is y'all had an auto-complete button, and that was really nice because we have no auto-completes here. Everything has to be done manually. You can't auto-farm hostiles. You can't. I guess you can count mining as an auto because it's just out there and does it. Like I've got one doing that now. But like if there's an event, I can't auto-do it if I've already got everything. That's really annoying.
That is a little painful. How are events though? Are events fun in Star Trek?
Sometimes yes. Most of the time we feel like they're tedious because we've seen a lot of them repeatedly, but I think that's normal for most games. The biggest complaint this month is honestly that it wasn't TNG enough. Like truthfully, what they brought to us this month was really good content. But it got on our nerves because the primary like theme, like you're supposed to be Star Trek. The only Star Trek thing was a character, lovers I do, who died in season 1 of Star Trek and was there for 26 total episodes. Sure. But she was the finale to the TNG. So like TNG's now done. Like we're not, the next month will not be TNG.
That's it.
And you gave us Tasha Yar, but what they actually added to the game was good for the game and fun. So the annoyance is like, why did we get this and not Star Trek?
And that's pretty good though. You had an event and something was added to the game that changed the nature of the game.
Yeah, I mean, like one of the biggest complaints we have is how can I get more officers? Which is like, y'all, how do I get more Wolverine and Spider-Man charge? Because they're so great.
Sure.
Well, they gave us away, so it was good. But at the same time, it's like, oh, but there's a new movie coming out and you ignored it. That would be the same thing. Like they just ignored Shang-Chi, but then improved your way to get red stars.
Gotcha.
Like you'd love that, but then like,
you know
what the hell? How did you not give me Shang-Chi? So,
if they improved the way to get red stars, I don't think anyone would even mind they didn't give us any Shang-Chi.
You say that until it happens, and you're like, "What the hell? Where's my new character?"
I don't know, man. You know what? Maybe it's a matter of loving what is more than hating what we have. But thank you so much for joining us, Gravediggers. Let him know that you dig him too. Make sure you check out the channel. He's got some interesting stuff on there. Some of these have Scopley in the title. I like those ones. I watch those ones. I watch any kind of salt on Scopley I'm down for.
Just to give y'all some background before we wrap up. I am under an NDA, so I am official content creator, but I've also been kicked out of the content creator program once already for calling them out on pack prices and how they deploy packs. So
nice.
I'll call them out. I do think that in the past year and a half, they've improved tremendously in how they treat the gamers, not to the point where I'm happy, but I don't go out like a sieve cussing them. So I guess it's a good improvement. But I mean, I try to be balanced.
I do the latter.
So yeah, look, sometimes you need to go at them as a sieve.
I try to fill that. I'm not an envoy. So I try.
Oh, is that what they call them?
Yeah, envoys. So I don't work with them officially. So I just try to provide that voice for the community to then help the people who are know that we are upset.
Yeah. And see, that's why I try to do the both. Like, I want to be the voice of the
Yes.
community, but I also have the opportunity to work with like the
Yeah.
dev team who runs events every week.
That's
And
awesome.
there's a couple
Wow.
of engineers that I get to work with. So it's like it's finding that balance because you don't want to tick them off and them not work with you anymore. But at the same time, if they do something really stupid, you got to say, hey, it's really stupid. Don't
I
do it
love it,
again.
man. Well, that
So,
that sounds awesome. It sounds like you're doing a good service for them, and I'm certainly glad to have you on the show. We'll have to have you back again
yeah.
and talk more. This has been great. All right, everybody, make sure you like and subscribe over here to Rev, and keep digging.